The second grade standard is tell and write time from analog and digital clocks to the nearest 5 minutes using AM and PM. So the way that I would use manipulatives to teach this standard to a second grade classroom would be to use the Judy clock. And so the first thing that I would do with the Judy clock is explain how to tell time on the clock. I think a Judy clock is a really good manipulative to use when teaching students about telling time because it does have the different color hands. It's large for them to see and it's vibrant colors. So as a teacher, the first thing that you would do is explain to the students, okay, you have this long hand and you have a short hand, and it's a really good representation on the Judy clock because one's red and one's blue, so they're different colors. So explain to the students, okay, so the short hand is your hour hand, and anytime that the short hand is near a number, that is the time that it is. And then the long hand is your minute hand, and so there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And so then you would do different examples with your students to show different times. So after that, you would explain, this standard is talking about to the nearest 5 minutes. So you would explain to your students with the Judy clock, okay, so even though the clock counts to 12, 1 to 12, your numbers are a representation of 5 minutes. So you would explain to them, okay, I'm counting actually by every 5 minutes. And so at first it might be a little bit tricky for them to understand that, but the Judy clock is a beautiful thing because it shows that it is counting by fives. So that's why I think that the Judy clock is a great manipulative, because they can visually see it. But make sure that when you do use the Judy clock to explain to your students time and how to tell time, that you also explain to them that not every clock is going to have a short and long hand that is red and blue. Explain to them that they're probably going to be the same color. Also explain to them not every clock is going to have the fives being counted on the clock. And so show them different examples. Explain to them that this is an analog clock and that you also have digital clocks that just tell you the time and you don't have to look at it. So another manipulative that I think would be really good to use in the classroom for second grade is this game that I created, What Time Is It? And it's a good manipulative to use because it's a game that they can come up and tell the time. They would come in and scan this QR code, gives them the directions, but this is a good example of, okay, well, these clocks don't have a red and blue hand. They actually have a short hand and a long hand, just like every clock does, but they are black hands. And so they would come up and they would look and see what time is on the clock, and they would get in this little pocket right here, pull out their times, and they would look at each clock, find the time that is on the clock. So after you've used the Judy clock to explain to them, okay, well, my short hand is my hour hand and my long hand is my minute hand, they would be like, well, since my short hand isn't completely on the 12, it must be 11, and since my long hand is on the 9, it must be 11:45. So then they would take this piece down here at the bottom and put it and match it. This is a really good manipulative to use because after you've taught with the Judy clock, these clocks do not count by fives. So they're going to have to know in their head that 1 through 12 is now counting by every 5 minutes.